Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the upper tier, and we are back. The Champions League is back. I can hear that beautiful sound coming at us Tuesday night. Joining me for a preview for the Champions League, as always, the Dazzler himself, Mystic Mac. How are we?
I just love that Champions League music, pal. Little known fact about me. Yeah.
Go on.
When I die, they're gonna play that at my funeral. That's how much I fucking love it.
Well, the beauty of that is I'll probably go before you go, so you'll have to carry my coffin before I ever have to carry yours. So that's a fucking bonus for me. But let's get into this preview anyway. Tuesday night, we couldn't start off with a bigger fixture, could we? Paris Saint-Germain versus Real Madrid.
They're two nobodies, Niall, aren't they? Let's be honest. Come on, Jesus Christ! Like
probably come semi-final time, maybe.
An ex Everton and ex Spurs manager. Like two absolute bottlers. Neither of these have a hope of winning this yoke. Let's be honest here. These are two absolute bleeding. These are masquerading as football managers and as football teams. I don't know what's going on that you've these shite kind of teams in this end of the draw. Yeah, listen, there's a serious amount of talent on show, isn't there?
There is.
Real serious. I think obviously it's nice to see Messi get to go back and hopefully do a number on Real one more time, just for old time's sake.
I don't know whether that might be the case though. That's the only
thing. It'll be tough. It will be tough.
Yeah.
Real have been playing all right, they have under Ancelotti. I suppose the rejuvenated Karim Benzema. He's really, really rolling back the years. I kind of feel like he's on the scene an awful long time. It's a long time since he put that double past United in the Lyon shirt, and everyone went crazy about him. He's playing some great football at the minute. The boy Vinicius as well is really, really hitting the straps at Madrid, and they've tightened things up at the back a little bit. The boy Ferland Mendy playing left back, doing a great job for them. Although I did see them today, apparently they're kind of exercised their boy back option on Reguilon. I don't know why. He's toffee. But
maybe he rang them and begged them.
Maybe, please, somebody get me out of here. Carlo, please.
I'll come back for half.
Yeah,
please.
I'll pay me own boy fee if you let me come back.
I'll play for free so long as it's in the sun.
Yeah. And then obviously you have a floundering PSG, don't you? They've looked way off the pace. Like, I know they're top in France, but let's be honest, Greystones United to be top in France, wouldn't they, at this rate?
Yeah, I was looking at it, and I was looking both of them are kind of doing very well in their respective leagues. But when you look at both leagues, Lille, we talk about the worst defense of a win, a league win. Lille has to be one of those, doesn't it? The drop off has been sensational. Unbelievable. And the same in Spain as well with Real Madrid. I mean, Atletico have looked a shadow of themselves, which is great news for you.
Yeah, it is. They obviously Atletico are shipping goals like nobody's business, which was unheard of under Diego Simeone. They got over the line last night, but it was 4-3 even against Getafe. Another poor side, you know what I mean?
As a Liverpool fan, I do like a 4-3 though. I'll just put that out there.
Absolutely, and why wouldn't you? Yeah, you like a 4-3 as much as I like as a 69. You know what I mean? It's all good in the hold, pal. But yeah, it's listen, I think it'll be a good game. I think there'll be plenty of goals. I have to be honest with you. I don't see this being, defensive football. This will be the boys will be going out all guns blazing for this. This will be end-to-end stuff. I imagine we'll see at least 6 goals plus over the 2 legs. Bare minimum.
I looked at the betting today. PSG are even money. Real Madrid are 5-2.
Yeah, they're big odds, to be honest with you. I couldn't say I was that impressed with PSG at the minute. In comparison to Real, I think people are obviously looking at the team sheet and they're looking at the squad and they're looking at what PSG have, and the Mbappe, the Neymar, the Messi, and stuff like that. But Madrid are playing well. They're putting in good performances. They're digging stuff out. They don't necessarily have the squad that Real deal with them or that PSG deal with the minute. But I think they're probably playing better as a team. And that might be enough to get them over the line. I have to be honest with you. I'd be favouring Real here over the 2 legs even.
When I looked at it and I looked at the betting today, just the odds in the betting, I didn't even look at either team and I didn't look at personnel. what stuck out to me straight away was Ancelotti versus Poch.
Yeah.
And I thought that's going to be decisive in it. And I really think Real Madrid could put PSG out. And I think it not so much coming down to the personnel and stuff like that, when you match them like for like. I think it'll come down to the nous of Ancelotti versus the inexperience of Pochettino.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I do. I think I'd side with Real here, if I'm honest. This could be an upset, so to speak, from a pricing point of view. But Real Madrid, nobody's won it more. They're one of the biggest clubs in the world. It won't be a shock to me. There's some good players there, and I think in the summertime we'll really see them rejuvenate that squad.
Yeah, and it doesn't. We know they're in for Mbappe, and we know they're in for Haaland, so it should be interesting to see what way that turns out. But it's an interesting one insofar as well as I just don't think. I think if PSG go out, there's a lot of talk that Pochettino's gone at the end of the season anyway. But I think if PSG go out, he could be on an early plane. Would he be heading to Manchester for a chat?
Possibly. We've obviously spoken about it numerous times. He's not my candidate of choice, let's say. But he's probably in the top couple of managers that will be spoken of, Unfortunately, that's obviously down to how far United have fallen. That maybe we're not going out and looking at the absolute best in the world. We've spoken about it again before. It's difficult for United. Obviously, probably in my eyes, the two best managers in world football at the minute play at our two biggest rivals.
Yeah.
So getting them out the door is extremely difficult. If we wanted to go and win stuff tomorrow, we go for Klopp or Guardiola, but neither of them are going to leave what they have to come to us at the minute.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I suppose the broad view from United fans is that Poch is not necessarily the guy they want to bring in.
No.
But it may be a case that if you can't convince the likes of a Ten Hag or something to come in at this stage, maybe it's again, I don't know, I hate to say interim, you know what I mean? It's.
No, listen, if Poch gets the job, he gets the job, and he'll be given the job with a 3 or a 5 year deal. That's what'll happen, but again, for me, I prefer to go a different direction. I'm a big Eric Ten Hag fan, if I'm honest. And again, I spoke to you about it. We are screaming for a centre forward, and I can't just but help to think we're going to end up with Mauricio Pochettino and Harry Kane. He'll get the boys back together again in June or July and try and shoehorn Kane into a United jersey and kick us on that way. But I don't necessarily think it's the way we should be going, if I'm honest, again.
Well, the upside of that is at least Dele Alli went to Everton.
Thank God.
So you might not have to put up with him.
Jesus Christ!
What are you thinking? Score on Tuesday night for this one? Height?
Who's home on Tuesday night?
PSG are at home.
I think PSG might nick it. PSG might nick it on the night.
2-1.
2-1. Yeah.
Tight going back to the Bernabeu.
Yeah, and I think Madrid will do enough to get them over the line in the Bernabeu. Have to be honest.
Interesting. That's definitely a great draw and a great set of toys to look forward to. Sporting versus Man City.
Yeah, this should be a foregone conclusion, really, shouldn't it? I know obviously Guardiola made a couple of changes yesterday. Left out Cancelo, left out De Bruyne. There was quite a number of lads that didn't maybe get the minutes they think under their belt yesterday, and obviously brought on the two young lads quite late in the day as well, so as not to waste any energy for some of the guys. I think this is going to be a steamroll job, This be 5 or 6 over the 2 legs.
Yeah, it'll be interesting with the away leg.
I don't think they're going there with any trepidation, are they, City?
No, I don't think that, so long as they don't go out with any complacency. But I just think if you look at City at times this season, they've gotten a bit frustrated at times, and they've made hard work at times of matches. I don't think this will be the case. And to be honest, I'd be surprised if this isn't maybe 2 or 3-0 and done and dusted in the first leg. That's what I'm thinking.
I think, to be honest with you, this is City's big chance at this trophy. I just think the way they've played this season, they've they've been quite workmanlike for a Guardiola side. You know, they've always just done enough to get over the line, and we've spoken about it numerous times. And I think they're in that vein of form where they're just doing enough to get themselves to a final. And I think City are favourites for me for this at the minute.
Well, as a Liverpool fan, I hope all their focus is on the Champions League.
I think you'll need it to be.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, because I don't think they've got enough big games left in the league to trouble them. You know.
Yeah. Looking at the betting on this, Lisbon are 11-1. The draw is 19-4, and City are 1-4. I thought they would have been deeper than 1-4, to be honest. I was surprised with Sporting being 11-1, but again, it depends.
This is Manchester will be blue on that night, I think. Yeah,
I would have thought so. Wednesday, 8 o'clock then on Wednesday coming up. Liverpool away in the San Siro against Inter Milan. Interesting tie of the round as well.
Yeah, like, listen, again, I don't think Liverpool are going in here with any fear. You know, Liverpool on their day can beat any team in the world at the minute. You know, they're in a good vein of form. As you can see, they've got bodies back and stuff like that now, haven't they? I don't think is there anyone injured at the minute.
No, everyone's good.
The squad is brimming. I saw a lot of Liverpool fans talk today about how the bench was the best it had looked in a long time. And there was even guys maybe that didn't make the squad, Minamino, Jones, few pieces of the puzzle like that, you know.
Yeah.
So this is a big, huge opportunity for Liverpool again in the league and in the Champions League. You know, I don't see Inter being a problem to Liverpool. I think their pace, and I think that incisive, you know, those three players up front that we talk about, the Manes and the Jotas and the Salas, I think he'll rip them asunder, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I did a post-match reaction today after the Burnley game, and I thought there was a casualness to their play. I didn't think there was a cutting edge to it. They looked a little bit jaded. Mane certainly looked a little bit jaded. Also, Salah looked a little bit fatigued in the match today. He wasn't up to his normal motoring self. I wonder, was there a combination of, one, we know how turf moor is and how tough it is as a pitch and stuff like that, and it was horrible conditions today. But on top of that, I wonder, were these guys thinking one eye on Wednesday in the San Siro as well?
Hard to believe they've just come back from the AFCON and they've probably played on the worst pitch they have in 6 weeks. You know,
I would have said, apart from the Anfield game, they played on the best. You mean the best pitch they played on in 6 weeks?
No, I think it was the worst. Jesus, it's hacked up as well, isn't it?
I don't know. I would have thought the pitches out in the AFCON, like that pitch for that final was worse than
it was
far.
Dire. At least I had undersoil heating though.
It was kind of the reverse, wasn't it? Give me more turf, not turf more.
I think, as you said, you know, it's not a nice place to go. Is it turf more ever?
No.
You know, any day of the week, it's not nice. Conditions were shockingly bad.
Yeah.
And again, with your two main protagonists only really off the plane this week, they've got to be tired. You know, Mane was in bed for the game the other night, and Salah obviously made it out onto the pitch and stuff like that. But again, didn't really hit the straps. I think it'll be a week or two before we see the best of the lads. But I still think there'll be more than enough in the bank. Could be tight in the San Siro, but you'll blow them away in the second leg. Absolutely blow them away.
Yeah, 12-5. Inter Milan are 12-5 on the night. 13-5 the draw, nearly 3-1, and 21-20 even money basically for Liverpool. So they're expecting even money's
good odds.
Yeah, for the away leg though, I would like a little bit more value if I was going in on. Here's the interesting one. The other one on Wednesday night: Red Bull Salzburg, RB Salzburg versus Bayern Munich. Now, Bayern Munich this year, they've kind of stuttered a little bit. I know they're still in control, but it's not the Bayern Munich. I looked at their league today, and I was thinking 17 wins, 1 draw, and 4 losses. 4 losses for Bayern Munich isn't their normal vein. Now, I know they got hit badly with COVID. I know that was the case at one stage.
They were
as well.
battered yesterday. They got thumped yesterday 4-2. They were 4-1 down. They conceded 4 goals in 30 minutes from the 14th to the 4th minute. Lewandowski bookended those 4 goals with 2 from himself. again, conditions weren't great, rough pitch. But they got a little bit of a hiding, if I'm honest. It'll be tough because Salzburg are a very workmanlike team, and they play with a great pace, But again, you can't really see past Bayern over two legs. If this was a one-legged affair, you might think Salzburg had a horse in the race, but when it's two legs, I just don't see it happening, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. We move on then. Tuesday the 22nd, the following week, we have Chelsea versus Lille.
The newly crowned World Club champions. It'll be, listen, Chelsea aren't in great form. Albeit they've just been crowned World Club champions. We know they're not in great form. They haven't been on a good run lately. And they've been floundering for goals. Werner and Lukaku firing blanks everywhere. I know Lukaku got one yesterday in the final, obviously, but it's a different scenario, isn't it? It's a different situation.
They even made hard work at that tournament.
Absolutely. Kai Havertz, obviously a big plus having him back. Because I think he was one of the cogs in the wheel that was missing for me, if I'm honest. That link-up play was phenomenal. I'd like to see him get more game time coming into the back end of the season if I was a Chelsea fan.
Reece James should be back for it as well, shouldn't he?
Yeah, so I mean, you've got guys coming back, haven't you? You've Reece James and you've Havertz, and okay, you're missing Chilwell, but listen, there's two big pluses there if you can get Havertz and Reece James back on the pitch, isn't it?
Yeah. The only thing I look at them, I think once we get out of the round of 16 and we get into the quarters and stuff, assuming they get by Lille, I think they may struggle unless their form comes back. Their form has been very indifferent over the last, say, 8-10 weeks.
I think it's very, very draw dependent, though, isn't it? I mean, there's a couple of okay draws you could get, but then there's some really bad ones. Yeah. We'll have to wait and see what way it goes. But I certainly think they'll get past Lille anyway.
Struggling big time, Lille, aren't they?
Really, really are, yeah. There was a little bit of a force there. There was a couple of the lads that obviously won the league were sold and stuff like that. Now, not all of them, but there was a few left to build and stuff. But it's a squad that's kind of being picked apart, and when they're getting guys back in to replace what's left, they maybe haven't hit the ground running the way they wanted and stuff like that. They've got some good players with them still, but I think it'll be another year or so before we see Lille being a force again, even in France.
Yeah, absolutely. Villarreal versus Juventus.
This will be a tough enough game, I have to say, for Juve.
Both teams struggling.
Yeah, but our pal Unai Emery. Good evening. Villarreal are a tough side to play, man. We know that they're defensively solid. They can hit you on the counter attack. They're probably a little more goal shy than you'd want them to be. But Juve aren't necessarily the force they've been in previous years. There's still a couple of big players at the side and stuff like that. They've obviously added in the boy Dennis Zakaria in the January transfer window and stuff like that.
Vlahovic.
And Vlahovic, yeah. But they're still loose around the pitch, if you know what I mean. They're not that well-oiled Italian machine that they were in years gone by. Vlahovic obviously is a big plus for them. He's really hit the ground running, and that'll take the pressure off some of the other boys, the Paulo Dybalas and stuff like that. But they'll probably squeeze past Villarreal, but I think will make it difficult for them.
Yeah, it'll be tough anyway, no doubt about it. Especially with Juve. I mean, there's a lot of players in there at the moment that keep on talking about pastures new, which is never a real good sign, really, when you're trying to pull it together. But I think this is the stage. This is the stage for Vlahovic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and this is what we want to see. We want to see the best players playing in these competitions, and undoubtedly, this kid is going to be one of the biggest stars in the next 10 years in world football if he can stay injury free.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we move on to Wednesday, the 23rd, Atletico versus Man United.
Yeah, I'm going to the home leg, which should be good, but we've got to make sure we get to that home leg with the toy still alive. To be honest with you, I do kind of think these sort of games against slightly better teams should suit us under Ranić, because we're not necessarily giving away the amount of chances that we have previously. You know, we're still maybe conceding the odd goal or two, but I mean, we're not shipping chances. I mean, like, I was at Old Trafford the day Liverpool put 5 past us. That was a reserved 5 now. That could have been 10 easily. We haven't looked like that recently. We've looked a little more in control. We've talked about us not scoring the goals and stuff like that. Been a little unlucky, but I think this is a nice time to get Atletico. I don't think they're the Atletico they were. I think they're an aging side. I think Simeone's going to have to make some big changes there in the summer and do a little bit of a clear out.
Yeah.
If we can get something out of this away leg, either a goal. Well, we need more than a goal actually, because the away goals are gone now, aren't they? So we certainly need a goal anyway to keep us in the tie. I think if we get out here with a draw, I'd fancy us to do them up in Old Trafford on a wet March 15th, Tuesday night. Fans behind you, wind in your face, rain in your hair. That's the hope anyway.
Hopefully the Wi-Fi is working so you can get a bit of grub and a drink as well. With a bit of luck. But we'll see. Yeah, I think, I don't know, I'm looking at this. If all things were being even, I would be thinking Atletico. But I think the way Atletico have been so poor and indifferent this season, I think it's a great time to draw a team like Atletico. Normally, you'd want to avoid them, that dogged style from Simeone's teams and stuff like that. They're just horrible to play against. So you'd like to avoid them, but I think it's a good time for United to play them. But I think United have a lot of work to do between now and then to figure out what's going on between their 45s and stuff like that. I think it's a great opportunity. Plus, I think you should see the best of Paul Pogba. He'll want to put himself in the window, won't he? So he should be rocking up for these games.
I thought he was pretty decent yesterday, if I'm honest, he controlled a lot of the game. He passed the ball very, very well and stuff. I think the problem with Pogba, and it's always been the problem in the United jersey, is we've never questioned what he does on the ball, and when he has the ball. It's the lack of work off the ball. But I do think him playing slightly further forward, as Ralph calls it, in the number 8 position rather than number 6, suits us down to the ground, because he's not necessarily picking the ball up in areas where if he loses it, we can be hurt immediately, as in they're not in on our back four. I think if I'm United here, our biggest worry is Harry Maguire. I think I'd love to see him go with Lindelof and Varane. I think it will be a massive statement. It's not necessarily one I think he'll go with, but I think, the two lads are a little more well-rounded as players. Varane's going to play. He should play. He's the best centre-back we have at the club. He's looked good for me, I have to say. He's looked good on the ball. He's looked good without the ball. But it's very difficult when you're playing next to a guy who's giving away that much space, and a guy who, when he's isolated 1v1, is going to struggle. I mean, we look at what the boy Brozier did to him yesterday, when he got isolated down the sides. Like, I would have, by the time he stopped them, Brozier had turned him inside. And I just thought, oh no, we're in trouble here, and luckily we were able to get bodies back and stuff like that and get blocks in. But yeah, Maguire would be my biggest fear going into this game and into this tie, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's kind of what way could I put this? It's a little bit weird, isn't it? Because Lindelof and Varane were looking like a really nice partnership prior to Lindelof having to go out. Obviously, he had the personal troubles and the break-in and all that kind of stuff. But you would have thought once he came back, that partnership would have been formed again, and Maguire would have been on the bench, because he's been so poor all season, like, you know what I mean? And I don't know what it is with him. I just think when you look, as you said, when you look at Lindelof and Varane, it's such a more balanced partnership. Because I think with Maguire, there's so much covering that has to be done for him. And, there's just lads getting, like, Varane is having to do such a job in covering for him. He's nearly making himself look bad at times. You know what I mean? By being dragged out of position and stuff like that. And then that gap in the middle when they're both dragged one way, the gap between then himself and Shaw, or himself and Dalot, is just...
And And to be honest with you, well, he always plays on the left side. Maguire always plays the left centre-back role. And I know United fans for a little while have been upset and maybe said that we haven't seen the best of Luke Shaw. I don't think it's possible for United to see the best of Luke Shaw playing where Harry Maguire is the player next to you. Because as you say, you've always got an eye on what's this guy doing. If you know you've got a liability beside you, behind you, around you, you're going to be very, very aware of that. And that's going to affect how you maybe go forward, how you track back, where you give space away. And I don't think we'll see the best of Luke Shaw until he has somebody in that left centre-back role who he feels comfortable and confident with. And that's not going to happen with Harry Maguire.
And the fact that we're Ralph favouring Telles over Luke Shaw as well is an interesting indication as well.
I think they've kind of split the games evenly. I think they've split the games evenly enough, I don't necessarily think he prefers one or the other yet. I think certainly on the right, he's absolutely buried Darren Wan-Bissaka, isn't he? I was speaking to someone on the United trade yesterday, and I firmly believe he'll end up at Newcastle or Everton next season, or West Ham, at that sort of a standard and level. But I think we'll probably buy a right back and let them compete with Dalot. Yeah. And on the opposite side, then I think anything could happen. It'll be if anyone tables a bid for either of the boys, you could see one of them leave, and then one of them be retained with another left back possibly. But yeah, I just think it's tough for Telles or Shaw, just because of what they have beside them.
You must be kicking yourselves that Trippier went to Newcastle, looking at him, kicking yourselves, even again today.
Yeah, listen, until he went off injured, he looked excellent again. He's left St James's Park on crutches though, so we don't know how bad that injury is. Maybe it's a precaution, maybe it's not. It's tough, but yeah, he looked very, very good, I have to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. A game that you'll be very interested on the Wednesday. You might have one eye on it while watching United. Benfica versus Ajax. Ten Hag, who has been heavily linked with Man United as being the potential successor to Ralph. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. What you thinking on that Benfica Ajax?
I actually think this will be a really good tie. I think Benfica are playing some good football at the minute as well. They've a decent squad there, Benfica. And there's plenty of goals on the side. I think Ajax, though, have just looked head and shoulders above anyone they've played so far in this competition, haven't they? They battered Dortmund twice. Really, really battered them. Okay, Dortmund were without Haaland. Certainly on one of the, maybe both of them, but they really took them apart tactically. They created so much space all over the pitch. There was overloads everywhere. I think this is a great draw for Ajax, because I think this should see them safely through to the quarterfinals.
Nice. Right. So this is where you put your nads on the line, as they say. Yeah. Give me your quarterfinal. Who goes through? So PSG, Real Madrid.
Real.
Sporting, Man City.
City.
Inter Milan, Liverpool. Salzburg, Bayern Munich.
Bayern.
I would imagine. Chelsea, Lille.
Chelsea.
Villarreal, Juve. And Atletico, Man United. And Benfica,
Ajax.
Can you imagine if we got a United Ajax? That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
That would be very interesting, because I happen to think Ajax would rip our pants down. And it might be nice. I don't usually like seeing my team getting fingered. However, I think it would be very important for Ten Hag to go and do a number and exploit the weaknesses that United have, because that would be a massive feather in his cap going into the summer, and it will be a huge bargaining chip if United to come calling at the door and say, listen, Eric, here's the keys to the castle. What do you need? I think,
and his first answer is going to be, well, first of all, I need Edwin van der Sar. I don't need Ralph Rangnick.
Well, they tend to do different roles, don't they? So I know there's something went out earlier on, and they're talking about Van der Sar possibly becoming CEO, and then Ranić being director of football and Ten Hag being the manager. Now, I couldn't help but be delighted with that, if I'm honest. I don't anywhere near think it'll happen. I think we'll end up with Arnold, Ranić, and Pochettino. But if I had my choice, it would certainly be Van der Sar, Ranić, and Ten Hag.
Is it all hinging on a top 4 finish?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just as important what Ten Hag does in this Champions League campaign. You know, if he puts Ajax into a semi-final, it's pretty hard to ignore. You know, especially if PSG are already out at that stage, or if Pochettino has been shown the door at PSG because, you know, they've been dog shit, which they have been. With probably, you know, one of the most expensively put together squads in world football. You know, so listen, that I'd love to see, you know, get Ajax, and unfortunately, I'd love to see Ten Hag do a number on us, because I think it will be the wake up call that the hierarchy at United needs. Yeah,
and it also might dampen down the Poch talk.
Yeah,
which is what most.
Because listen,
probably
let's be honest here. Like, if he's free in the summer, that's going to happen. Yeah. And to be honest, it's looking like he's going to be free. He's not going to be retained at PSG after the summer. So he's free as a bird.
I think they've more or less already told him, haven't they? They've more or less already told him.
Yeah, they have. Yeah. Now, I've heard, you know, little words that maybe he's being eyed up for one of the Madrid jobs, but I don't know. Listen, it's a long way away, but I think, and I spoke to you obviously a bit in the mashup about this, I think we get another crack at Poch. I think if Ten Hag goes somewhere and does an unbelievable job, we don't get another crack at him. So I think it has to happen now for me.
It's been a story, really, isn't it, of United missing out nearly, isn't it? Really, this one, it's got to be. It's got
to be tour time lucky, hasn't it? Has to be.
It has to be 100% this time. They can't drop any further off.
No.
Well, listen, it's been a pleasure having you on for this Champions League preview. As always, we will wait on Tuesday with bated breath for that beautiful music to hit our screens. Brilliant to have it back. Absolute pleasure having you on. Drop your predictions in the comments. If you want to get in contact with the show, the uppertierpodcast@gmail.com. You will get audio versions of this show on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
Me Alexa's not working. I think it's that time of the month or something. Otherwise, I'd get her to play the old Champions League music in the background there for us. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Absolutely brilliant. Listen, talk to you again real soon, my friend. Appreciate it.
Thanks, pal.
Cheers, Bob.